If you can remain standing just for a second. Yesterday, I was at a wonderful function, but I want a moment of silence this morning for Dennis Antonucci, stepson of Tommy Tokars is with us here today, and Kathy Tokars. He died of ALS. I went to the funeral on last Friday. He had a 5-year unbelievable battle. And after going to yesterday's opening ceremonies, and I'll get into this a little bit later, and hearing the talks and seeing what Tommy and Kathy have gone through in their lives, I just want a moment of silence for, please, Dennis Kurt Antonucci. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Okay, people are not speaking. I'd just like to introduce them. Mayor Dan Drew is with us. Enzo Fienza, the Mayor of Cromwell, and of course Dan Drew from the City of Middletown. Rick Moran, next year's chairman, are all with us. And Sylvia Webb, who will get up later, is with us also from our mentor program. Let's have a round of applause for all of them. I was going to introduce them individually, but I talked to Jason, so we're going to have everyone stand up from a hospital of special care. As I mentioned before, going to that funeral on last Friday and then hearing the opening ceremonies yesterday, we are so fortunate in the state of Connecticut, so fortunate to have an unbelievable hospital such as Hospital Special Care. I know that Chris Serra is here with us today, the great athletic director at Portland High School, who had been involved in an unbelievable serious operation. And he went from Hartford Hospital to Hospital Special Care, and he's coaching today. And he's the athletic director. That never would have happened if it wasn't for the care and love and concern of this truly wonderful, outstanding hospital of special care. Will they all, the whole team stand up? Let's have a round of applause for all of them. I know Andy will probably have something to say later, but it was just unbelievable with yesterday's ceremony. The speakers at it yesterday were the governor and Andy Bissett, my dear friend, and just set the tone of the event. Nathan was phenomenal with his remarks, his heartfelt feelings. I mean, it touched me, Nathan. And I know Andy was unbelievable also. But to hear Jay Fishman and Brian Savo speak, both of these individuals have been diagnosed with ALS. And their remarks show the true character of these unbelievable brave men who are battling this terrible disease. Anyone that attended yesterday's event had to be moved by it. I am so proud again of the ALS clinic at Hospital for Special Care, which will be the beneficiary of this year's tournament. Andy, you can mention it to Jay, and Hospital Special Care, maybe people can talk to Brian, but anybody that went to that event yesterday understands what this disease does. And thank God we have the travelers that's stepping up to the plate to really help people out. And as both speakers said, it's not going to really help them out. But as Brian said, it might help his kids out. And for that, it was unbelievable. And David Polk was there, It was held at the first tee. That is another magnificent organization that we have in Middlesex County that's dealing with young people, teaching them the golf skills, but more importantly than that, teaching them life skills. And David, I want to thank you, and of course Ted May, and that whole team for their unbelievable dedication to the young people all over the state of Connecticut, and of course First Tee is all over our great country. It's unbelievable. So I now want Greg Shook to get up here. I wanted to mention that event yesterday because it was so important to me and anybody that attended it. And Greg has just done a phenomenal job this year as our chairperson as we continue to move through the year. Greg Shook.
Thank you, Larry. There's a green sheet on your table. We want to thank all the state and local officials that do so much for us and to thank them for attending and participating. Also, it's my pleasure always to welcome the new members that become the lifeblood of our organization. They pay their own personal taxes and they pay the taxes that help support this great state. So we have Alex Yale and Ristus LLP, if you could stand up if you're here. That's out of Hartford. Thank you. Canon Solutions America out of Rocky Hill. Thank you. We have North Ford Services LLC out of Middletown. Thank you. And TGBC T. Gezzo Business Consulting LLC out of Old Saybrook. Thank you and welcome. I also have the pleasure of giving some special recognitions this morning to Mike Coes from the Xavier High School, New Haven Register All-Area Coach of the Year, if you're here. Chris Fostick. Thank you. Chris Fostick, New Haven Register All-Area MVP. Over there. And representing Portland High School, here's a golfer on his way up, Mark. Nicholas Pearsall, All-Current Player of the Year, All-State First Team All-Shoreline, First Place States Championship, 3 under par at 69, First Place Shoreline Championship, 3 under par, 69, Second Place New England Championship. Nicholas Pearsall. And then Bob Schumann, Suburban Stationery, on receiving the 2016 Professional of the Year Award during North American Office Products Award Show in Washington, D.C. I'm sorry, I butchered that a little bit. Are you here? Congratulations. Also, I want to thank Mark for taking the time to be here for us. His two little boys and his wife Audrey. Very impressed with family. If you Google them, they have a foundation that I think you all ought to participate. If you get a chance, throw a few dollars that way. I'm very impressed with their story and moved by it. So all the best to you and your family. Thanks for attending.
We had a great event. We had about 250 people at the Courtyard by Marriott, and can I have that whole team stand up that are with us, Courtyard of Marriott? Hold your applause for a second. We'll do it afterwards. Unbelievable night. It was phenomenal. Dan was running around quicker than me that night, which set a record. But we had 250 people at a business after work. Great networking. Food was outstanding. The ambiance was even better. Kristen and Dan, thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause for them for a great job. Just a quick follow-up after Greg. We were very fortunate this year to have 2 outstanding golf teams in our region. As was mentioned, Xavier High School tied for first in Division I state championship. and they fell to Simsbury in a 3-hole playoff and was runner-up. But they tied during the regulation time on that. Also, Portland High School, with Coach Joe Santavari, had an unbelievable year, 17-1. They are also state champions in Division 4. And it was mentioned both teams had outstanding golfers. So can both teams stand up? Let's have a round of applause for them. Mike Coase and his team, and Joe and his team. Today is kind of a day that I want to congratulate some people also. I picked up the paper the other day and I had heard this, but our mayor in the city of Middletown, Dan Drew, there was a big article in the paper and it said, "A perfect gift." Mayor Dan Drew matches a kidney donation for a city woman. Olivia DeMoro had gone out and said that she needed a kidney and needed people to try to step forward and match this. Our mayor in the city of Middletown stepped up to the plate and is going to do it. I'm so proud of him because this is just an unbelievable example of someone that he's got young kids. His wife has been sick on and off, so he's gone through a lot himself. And yet he heard about somebody that needed a kidney, he matched up with it, and he stepped forward. It takes courage, it takes love, and it really takes just a very, very good person. Dan, just thank you for being you. Next, Mike DePillo, my good friend from the Citizens 5K Road Race Committee. Come on up, Mike.
Good morning. On behalf of the Middletown Road Race Committee, it gives me great pleasure to present this $5,000, $3,500 check.
$5,000. Cut it on the check.
From the Citizens Bank 5K Road Race to the Hal Kaplan Middletown Mentor Program. We had over 500 racers this year, including Mayor Dan and Jeff Pugliese from the Chamber of Commerce. And over the period of the time that we've raised money, we've raised over $150,000, and we raised $7,500 this year. And it's a wonderful race, and I'd like to say thank you to all the volunteers and all the people that run the race. And to you, Sylvia, thank you.
I'd like to thank Citizens Bank and the 5K Road Race participants for their continued support of the Mentor Program. The Hal Kaplan Mentor Program matches students in the Middletown schools, primarily elementary grades, who would benefit from some additional adult attention. With community members. Time is spent on school grounds during the school day year with the student, usually during their lunch or recess time, talking, sharing, playing games, listening, working on crafts, and getting to know each other, with a celebration of friendships at the end of the year. Many of the students we've matched many of the students, but we have many, many more that are out there waiting to be matched. The schools have identified them as benefiting from this extra attention. If you are interested yourself or would like someone to speak with your employees about the program, please see me after this program or Jennifer DeKine, who will be at the table over there in the corner with these flyers that you may take and get more information about the program. Again, thank you to Citizens Bank and the 5K Road Racers for their continued support.
Next, gives me a great honor to introduce Nathan Grube, Tournament Director of the Travelers. As I said before, he was fantastic yesterday. All of you have seen him over the period of the year. As you know, one of the things we do to promote this tournament is every breakfast we have Nathan or Jason get up and give an update for this truly fantastic event that brings hundreds of thousands of people here to the state of Connecticut and Middlesex County. It is unbelievable economic generator. And Nathan, thank you for the great job you do. And for a quick update, come on up.
Thanks, Larry. All right, we're here. I do the countdown all year, but we are here. And so thank you, many of the companies in the room. You volunteer, you support the tournament financially. It is on us. A lot of stuff going on. We got mini golf tomorrow, which has become a whole spectator-friendly thing on its own that started as a brainchild of Andy Bissett years ago, saying we need a mini golf tournament as well. And so we built a mini golf course, and we have a great mini golf event. Celebrity Pro-Am. The competition starts on Thursday with concerts after, and Women's Day. There's just a whole slew of things that you have helped put together through your feedback. All those events that we do raise additional funds for charity. We are going to blow through our record this year. Last year we were a little over $1.5 million. With everything we're doing around ALS this year and working with the Hospital for Special Care, we are going to have the highest charitable donation we have ever had with this tournament in its 65-year history. So thank you for being a part of that. Mark, thank you for being part of one of the strongest fields we have ever put together at the Travelers Championship. It's going to be a great show for you, the fans, and something we can spotlight and highlight Middlesex County. So thank you very much. The sun always shines, right, Larry?
That's right.
It does, all week.
You better be shining this week or I'm in trouble. Sun always shines in Middlesex County. Let's fire that up. We're going to have it. It's going to be a great week for everyone. I would be remiss also if I didn't really thank the town of Cromwell, the mayor, and also our police chief, and of course the unbelievable Tony Salvatore, town manager, former police chief. This is a major undertaking for the town of Cromwell, and every year they do a magnificent job handling the thousands and thousands of people that come here, and they leave Middlesex County with a good feeling about the county, and that's because Mayor, the great police force, all of the other people and the residents of the community, they just do a great job. So thank you again for your team making sure this tournament has another fantastic year. It gives me a great honor to introduce our next individual. Andy Bissett is one of those, as was mentioned yesterday by both Nathan and Jay, is one of those really special corporate leaders we have here in the state of Connecticut. Personally, Andy is on the Board of Trustees with me at the University of Connecticut. And he has been my sounding board. He has been the individual I turn to time and time again for advice. He's a friend. But more important to me, he's an individual with a sense of duty and dedication to the state of Connecticut. For a corporate leader to step forward the way he does, not only at UConn, but other functions he does, he's appointed to other major committees in the state of Connecticut, to give up his time and his dedication to make our state a better state for everyone. Words cannot say enough about this truly wonderful, outstanding, dedicated, loving individual. I give you my friend, Andy Bissett.
Thanks, Larry. I always said, I said to Coach Belichick one time, he was playing, a few years ago with Chris Berman, and I said, in my Olympic career, I learned one thing, that my coach was always he could be my worst enemy, he could be my biggest ally. but Larry's coaching background is a story in and of itself, but to be able to work with Larry, with the trustees, but also in the state with the chamber, is really second to none, and I mean that. You're a great friend, but you're a sounding board for me as much as I am. I think all of us need a little psychological help once in a while, and I'm clearly in that group. So thank you for all you do with the Middlesex Chamber and growing the state of Connecticut. And we're rising back up again, and I'm telling you, we're going to be one powerful force to deal with here. So with that, I have a few comments, and yesterday at the opening ceremonies, it was one terrific morning, more terrific than I could ever imagine, and I think Nathan would agree with that, what we experienced was so many lessons. There were lessons about humility, with leadership, with as Jay said recently, he said, when you're in the final innings of your game, and with how to live your life to the fullest every day. There were a lot of lessons in that yesterday, because none of us know. Health in life is such a fragile thing sometimes. None of us ever know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. But on behalf of Jay, and Alan Schnitzer, who's our CEO, Brian McLean, who's our president, and all of our over 30,000 employees at Travelers, I wanted to say welcome this morning and thanks for being here. I always look forward to this breakfast. I think it's one of the most fun things around the Travelers Championship that we do each year. All of you are so engaged. This is your home. This is your home turf. And I appreciate all the support. Many of you, I don't even know what percentage it is, but a lot of you are all supporters of the tournament and have been for years. So thank you very much. And it was funny, recently Nathan and I guess I was reflecting, Nathan was listening. Well, we both were reflecting about, the Travelers Championship. And I said, geez, we've changed so much, yet so little has changed. And everything has become more complicated, it seems like, and everything has grown, and it's all for the good. Yet everything remains so simple. It's a basic blocking and tackling, as they always say, the metaphor. But we've always dreamed to be big, and we've always dreamed to be successful. When I was an athlete, I dreamed of success. I dreamed of being an Olympian. I dreamed of it. And if you don't dream, you can't get there. That helps you make your goal so clear. And so Nathan and I dream, and we get emotional at times, and I think that's important. That's an important part of dreaming. And we couldn't be prouder to have Nathan Grube and Tara Gerber and Kevin Harrington. The three of them are truly the leaders of the staff that puts this on. And it's a 365-day a year job, and we should never take it for granted. They are the best, and I capitalize the word best, tournament staff in the world, and we're absolutely world class. All of my operations at Travelers, I always say I have one goal for all of you, for all the people who work for me. I want to be world class. Whatever that means, I'm glad to talk with you about it, but I want to be world class. And Nathan and his staff are world class. And what they do with the people they have is just terrific. It's unbelievable, and we should never take it for granted. And that's one of the things that's so simple, yet it's one of the things that hasn't changed a whole lot. I mean, what Nathan does and what his team does is just terrific. Also, Travelers is still here as your title sponsor 10 years later. And we're so happy, you hear me say this all the time, we're so proud, I can't even tell you how proud we are to be the hometown company that sponsors a hometown event benefiting hometown charities and organizations. I mean, you can't... Thank you very much. Now, our collective teams never settle for the status quo. And God, Nathan, I think we've been saying that from day one. Status quo is unacceptable. We improve every day. We improve every hour. We always try to make this better. And our team hasn't lost its passion. So that's how simple this is, and that's how fun this is. And those are some of the things that haven't changed since we began. And We're going to continue to have that passion. We're going to continue to drive for continuous improvement. And you look at this tournament, where it's come from in 10 years. We had 6 of the top 50 in the world back in, whatever year it was, mid-2000s. And today, this year, we've got 18 of the top 50 in the world. It's a record. It's the best we've ever had at the Travelers Championship. And Mark Leishman is one of those. And that's so important. That's so important to what we're trying to achieve here, because without a really great sporting event, you know what, you can't give as much to charity, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we've gone from, and I always laugh at this a little bit with Nathan, we've gone from rock and roll to country western. So Thursday night is Big and Rich. If you're not into country western music, not particularly, but they're really good. And so I'm going to go listen. But if you're into country western, Nathan keeps telling me it's going to be just sold out and buried there Thursday night with Big and Rich. So we've transitioned. Veterans this year for the first time are free. And I won't get into that whole story, but Bears Barbecue is subsidizing all of that. And so our veterans can come to the Travelers Championship for free. And I think that's just a huge milestone in what we've accomplished here and what our legacy will be. Bubba Watson's won here twice. Mark's won here. The tournament's just generated more than $10 million for over 500 nonprofits over our first 9 years, which is just unbelievable. And last year we gave $1,565,000, and Nathan always kicks me, but it's too far away, so he can't kick me. But we said this year, I think we're going to we'll be somewhere between $2.5 and $3 million to charity. You can kick me later. But I think, how you say, well, how did you go? How did you do that? Well, our ALS dinner on Friday night, that I'll talk about in a second, is a huge contributor to that, and you'll understand that in a second. But this year, our focus is really a personal one. You heard Larry's comments about yesterday's opening ceremonies. And about a year ago, when Jay was still our chairman and CEO, he disclosed that he'd been diagnosed with ALS, which is, as all of you know, it's a progressive disorder that affects the nerves and muscles in your body. He has since become very engaged, as a lot of people heard and have read, with organizations to conduct research, number one, and number two, improve the care of ALS patients. As he said yesterday, it's a very expensive disease, and he wanted to make sure we did something that made it easier for Connecticut residents who have ALS to make it just a little easier in their lives. And so we're very happy to support Jay and his family in all these efforts. And I'll just say for a second, the ALS clinic at the Hospital for Special Care, if you're not familiar with it, is just absolutely world class. It's spectacular. And they've been designated our primary beneficiary for this year's 2016 Travelers Championship. Each year, the Hospital for Special Care serves over 250 Connecticut residents with ALS. And it's the only facility in Connecticut, I always get the words wrong, it's the only official ALS Association's certified treatment center of excellence. So, it is world class. It's world class for those 250 ALS patients we have in the state, and it's really, truly second to none. Secondly, as I mentioned, there's a dinner this Friday night to benefit the Bruce Edwards Foundation. And if you don't know who Bruce Edwards is or was, Bruce passed in 2004, I believe, from ALS, and he was Tom Watson's caddy. And if you haven't read Caddy for Life, and if you don't know the story, he grew up in he grew up in Wethersfield. The hospital's in New Britain. He grew up in Wethersfield, and the dinner is going to be one special evening. Tom Watson is coming to town. John Feinstein, the famous author, will be with us, and of course Jay will speak as well. But just so you know, the effort was, he came out, this is a funny story, it is actually funny, because Jay laughs when he and I laughed about it, but probably last year I said, geez, this guy John Feinstein calls me like once a year to have a scholarship thing at the Travelers Championship for the Bruce Edwards Foundation. And I said, well, okay. So 5 years, every year. So finally, this year, when he called and he said, hey, we should, I said, gee, this is interesting. So I went to talk to Jay. Jay said, I don't want to do a scholarship for $10,000. He said, come up with a better idea. So I thought about it for a day, and they went back, saw him. I said, hey, get an idea. Let's sell, we'll do this. We'll sell 100 tables at $10,000 a table to raise $1 million for ALS research through the Bruce Edwards Foundation. All the money from the Bruce Edwards Foundation goes to the Packard Clinic at Johns Hopkins, which is one of the leading research institutions in the world, And so and then when that became evident to us, we said, yeah, let's go for it. Well, I got to tell you, this morning, we're at 118 tables at $10,000 a table. And this Friday night, all 3 ballrooms at the convention center will be sold out and filled to the brim with folks. The PGA Tour golfers will be with us. The caddies will be with us. It's going to be one special. I mean, if you thought the opening ceremonies were special, I think Friday night, feels like tomorrow night, I think Friday night is going to be one special, special night. So if any of you have bought tables or seats and are going to participate, thank you. But I want to leave you with that thought, because that's really what's going on here this week. And and there are over 100 other charities that are going to benefit from the tournament like they do every year, so we haven't given up on everybody else, because that's all really important to support all those causes. And we're looking forward to getting back to golf, to a really exciting week. And we've got Bubba back, and Matt Kuchar, and Patrick Reed, and Ernie Els, and Brandon Grace, and Mark Leishman, and Keegan Bradley, and Louis Oosthuizen, and Zach Johnson, and Paul Casey, and Jim Furyk. I mean, look at the list. I mean, give me a break. This is like the best of the best. And we're just going to have a great night. The celebrities playing in the Celebrity Pro-Am are Kevin Nealon from Saturday Night Live. He'll be with us at the sponsors dinner tonight, actually, and then tomorrow. And Doug Flutie, and Dane DeHaan, the Green Goblin, and Spider-Man. I always have to get this right because I don't watch those movies. Well, sometimes I do when my son makes me watch them, but that's okay. Ray Allen will be with us, and all the UConn coaches, Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, Chris Daly, Mike Kavanaugh. So come on out. The Gin Blossoms will be Saturday night. Big and Rich will be on Thursday night. And now I want to do the most important thing, is introduce Mark Leishman. And I got to tell you, I love Mark to death. And he's always smiling, except when he's trying to sink a putt to win. Even then you're smiling. But if it goes in, well, that's true. But Mark is just he's just terrific. He's one of the best guys on tour. Great attitude about life, a great attitude about his golf game. And somebody that we're really proud of. In 2012, he was our champion. He shot a 62, which is unbelievable to win the tournament. And that was his first victory on the PGA Tour. And he's had many other accolades since. I also love that Mark and his wife Audrey created a Begin Again Foundation that Greg had mentioned before, and it's just terrific, following the serious illness that Audrey had back in 2014. And the foundation provides financial assistance to those experiencing hardship due to medical circumstances. So you can kind of see at the Travelers Championship, all roads lead back to helping. That's what's so great about the PGA Tour and about the PGA Tour golfers, is that we're all in this together. I never, ever wake up and say, geez, Travelers are trying to do this, and Nathan and I are trying to do this. I wake up and think, guys like Mark Leishman are out there trying to do this with their foundations and do good. That's what professional golf is about on the PGA Tour. That's why we're a title sponsor, again, to be a hometown sponsor of a hometown event, to benefit hometown charities and hometown organizations. That is our mantra. We always do that. Mark and his family, really exemplify all of those values, and they exemplify everything that we do here. So, it's important to compete. It's great to win. It's really important to win if that's your job. And it's even more meaningful when we can really help others and to do what they do and how they can help other people. So with all of that, and I got to tell you, and this is great, I know Mark in 2013 when he came back for Media Day, he loves surfing. He loves Australian rules. What? Football? Yeah? I don't know what that is. But is that like rugby? Nah, forget it. Don't do it. You can tell everybody after when they come up. And then, but he loves cricket. So we gave him a cricket bat. Bat? And it's this paddle-looking thing, right? If you don't know what it is, you can Google it. But we gave him a cricket bat, and it was really great. And it was signed by a great cricketer. Ricky who? Ponte? Great cricketer. So anyways, with all that, join me in welcoming Mark Leishman to be with us this morning.
Well, thanks everyone for having me here. To go on from Andy's story, the cricket bat was signed by Ricky Ponting, who he was the captain of the Australian cricket team for 10 years and just probably, I don't know, the Tom Brady of of cricket, I guess. Yeah, that was a pretty big thrill. Yeah, I was lucky enough to win this tournament 4 years ago now, which doesn't feel like 4 years ago, but I really feel like I got accepted into a family when I won it. When you win other tournaments, around the world, I mean, it's obviously unbelievable, but you kind of go back there the next year, and that's the next time you see those guys that run the tournament. This tournament's very different. Felt like I got accepted into a family. Nathan, Andy, Jay, everyone's been amazing, and it's so good to feel like I'm a part of this tournament every year now. From doing a breakfast like this, meeting new people. It's really a thrill, and I feel honoured to be part of it. We play a lot of tournaments around the country and around the world. A lot of the tournaments, you refer to them as, if you're asking the guys you're playing with, what are you doing the next month? They'll be like, yeah, we're playing LA, we're playing San Diego, we're playing Phoenix. This one, it's always the Travellers, and I love that you've really, obviously being a hometown crowd, hometown company. It's just good that you've combined so well with this tournament and been a part of it, and I know that the community is a big part of that as well. So for that, I thank Travellers and all you guys. I'm really not that good at this, just talking at people, but I would be very open to questions, or if anyone's got whatever, I'm open to anything, almost.
What do you think about the Olympics, Mark?
The Olympics? I think it's going to be a difficult one this year, just because it's in Rio. I feel like there's so many things working against the Olympics this year, whether it's the Zika virus, the security, the water. There's a lot of things. I think if the first time that the Olympics was the golf was in the Olympic Games was in Japan or Australia or Canada or America or wherever, I feel like there wouldn't be one player that would miss it. And I think it's unfortunate that it is where it is this year, because personally I'd love to have, be there representing my country. Obviously, I've had to withdraw because of Audrey's compromised immune system. With the Zika virus, it wasn't the right thing for me to do. But yeah, like I said, if it was anywhere else, I think everyone would go. It's just unfortunate that it is where it is, and all the, not just one concern, but a lot of concerns. Yeah.
What's your favorite golf story?
Favorite golf story? Favorite golf story? You probably can't really tell it up here. It was, yeah. There's a funny golf story. Everyone's finished eating. So there was a tournament in India, and the caddies had to wear the white overalls like they do at Augusta. I wasn't there. I heard this from a European tour caddy, and India can be a little bit tough on your stomach sometimes. These caddies had to duck off into the trees, and there was no bathrooms around, and so he pulls down his overalls, does what he needs to do, cleans himself up, pulls his overalls back up, and he's like, oh no. I guess you can work out what happened. He's done it in the overalls and pulled it up, and it was all down his back. I think that's, like I said, I'm glad everyone's finished eating. But that was the first one that came to mind. So.
about some of the golfers, the students? Any questions?
What advice would you have for the young golfers?
Just enjoy what you do. Obviously, you have to practice hard and have the ability, which I guess all you guys have got the ability. But I feel like you always do your best at whatever it is, whether it's golf or just things you would enjoy. You tend to be better at. So if you make practice fun, I'm not one to stand on the range and just beat balls all day. If you are hitting balls, hit different shots, high, low, hit at things, not living things. But just make sure you're having fun, because that's when you're having fun, that's when you learn the best, that's when you learn the quickest, and even on the golf course. Things don't always go your way, but if you can brush it aside, keep enjoying it, that's when you're going to have the most birdies and play your best golf. That's certainly when I've played my best golf, is when I've been enjoying it. And when you've played too much or when you're burnt out, that's when you're not enjoying it and you play your worst golf. So just enjoy it, and that's probably the best thing I can say to you.
How do you determine your schedule, and how do you set up for travel? I mean, you're on the road, you're playing 3 or 4 tournaments, and you're going to dress a different outfit every day, and shoes and so forth. How does all that take place?
Well, the schedule, this is my 8th year on tour now. So I've played enough years on the tour and played certain tournaments enough times that I know where I enjoy the courses, where the courses I enjoy, I generally play better at, so I play those events. Obviously, the majors, WGCs, all that, I've been lucky enough the last few years to be able to be in all of those, so that really gives you the opportunity to hand-pick the tournaments that you really love coming to and enjoy. The Greenbrier Classic, for example, I always play terrible there. I'm not a huge fan of the golf course. Not because it's not a great golf course, I can't read the greens. I've never played well there, but it's my wife's favourite event of the year, so I have to play there every year. So that's a determining factor. But yeah, some courses suit your eye, some don't. You play well at some, and generally the ones that you don't play well at, I'm lucky because I'm in a position now where I can just not play those events and try and be fresh for the events that I do enjoy, like the Travelers, like the Northern Trusts in LA, in San Diego. So basically the courses you like. As far as clothes go, my sponsors send me the shirts, and try and not wear the same outfit too often, just in case you get the photos taken, and I've gone back and had a look occasionally, and there'll be like, I've played well when I've worn that outfit, and it's like they just think it's the same photo, but it's the same outfit. So yeah, it's just it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and hopefully the more successful you get. This year it's been, I feel like I've played better than I have any other year on tour, but my results haven't been as good, so it's been a frustrating year for me. But I was talking to my mental guy yesterday, and he said we have mental guys, swing coaches, all that. So he said, I've basically written the first 10 chapters of my novel for this year. Everyone remembers the ending of the book, so hopefully I can make the ending a really good one. It'd be nice to start the ending this week with a good result, and then the playoffs. So yeah.
How do you keep your cool like an 18th green to a putt? How do you keep focused and pressure? We feel it just acting on you.
Yeah, I mean, because we've been doing it so much, I guess we don't really notice the people. around the greens. We know they're there, but because we do it all the time, it's not like we're over a putt thing and, oh geez, there's, however many thousand people watching me. One thing I learned a few years ago was, and also when Audrey got sick in the hospital, I learned a lot about breathing and breathing techniques. When she was on the ventilator, she was breathing in, or it was breathing in for her for 7 seconds and out for 1, for basically like that for days. 2 days she was doing that for. And I asked the doctor, I'm like, why is she breathing in for that long and only out for 1 second? Try and do it. You can do about 3 breaths and you're gassed. He's like, you need to get the oxygen in. It needs to go into your lungs. Your lungs need to absorb it, and then you get rid of the bad stuff, the carbon dioxide. It's like, that's funny. I'm like, why is it so important? And he's, well, to get oxygen into your lungs, you need to get oxygen into your lungs to get it into your blood, which the blood then goes to your brain and oxygenates your brain. And if your brain's not getting the right amount of oxygen, it doesn't work properly. You do things quicker, you breathe shallower. When you're nervous, you generally breathe shallower. You just breathe into your chest. It doesn't get all the way down into your stomach and your lungs, so your lungs can't absorb it. So I'm thinking about all this and I'm like, geez, this could really help me. If I'm ever nervous, if I breathe properly, which I'm not breathing properly now, if I breathe properly, this could really help me. So 2 months later, I was in the British Open, and obviously my perspective was very good at that time because it was only 2 months after Audrey had got out of the hospital. And I'm, in that, I was leading on the back nine Sunday and just concentrating on my breathing, making sure that I'm doing the right things. And believe it or not, I didn't feel nerves at all, which was crazy. If you had have asked me the Monday of the tournament, all right, you're going to be leading Sunday afternoon on the back nine, how do you think you'll be feeling? I'm like, I'll be crapping myself. But yeah, that really helped me. So that's what I think about whenever I'm in a pressure situation, is just make sure I breathe deep into my stomach and then, let things take care of itself from there.
Mark, when did you determine you had a passion for the game?
I loved all sports growing up as a kid. I played cricket, football, golf, I surfed, I played tennis. I was always better at golf. I won our club championships when I was 13 at our home club, and that's when I thought, I'm pretty decent at this game. It wasn't until I had the passion then. Whatever I do now, I still want to do it well. So if I'm going to go out and play tennis with someone, I'll hit a few balls before I play. But I would say when I was 16, I knew that I was going to do something with golf. My career was going to be something involved in golf, whether it was, I was hoping it was going to be what I'm actually doing, which I'm very lucky to be doing. That may have been a coach, it may have been a club pro, something like Nathan does. It could have been anything to do with golf, and I would have really loved that. So yeah, I'd say 16, but I didn't know that I was ever going to get to here until I actually got on the tour. You never know. You can be there's players that I grew up with that were as good or better than me, and they never got onto a tour. And it's just, sometimes it takes the right breaks, it takes the right decision at a certain time. As far as getting on the tour, you're never sure, I don't think.
Obviously winning brings a lot of good things, but I guess my question would be, how did it change you? Did it change your approach to the sport? Did it change your approach as a player? Did it change your focus at all? How did winning your environment?
It certainly didn't change me as a person. I feel like I've always been fairly grounded in that way. I think it probably changed my expectations a little bit. after I won, I played well in the Masters the next year, and then started contending in majors, and I think that really changed just my expectations, which is, I guess, a good thing and a bad thing. It's nice to go out and feel like you can win, any event that you play in, but at the same time, if you're thinking about that on the first tee, it's a bad thing, because if you bogey the first, then you're angry, and it's not a good thing. So I've tried to take the good out of it, and that's another thing I spoke with yesterday about my mental guy, was maybe lowering my expectations a little bit. Not so much lowering my expectations, but just playing golf again. I feel like I've been thinking about the result too much, and when you start thinking about the result, that's a bad thing. You've got to do the things that are going to, do the right things, do everything the way that you should and that works for you. And if that is good enough, great. If you've done everything you can to do your best, that's good enough, whether you win or not. And when I've played my best, that's what I've done. And I feel like this year I feel like I've played better than I have any other year on tour, and my results have been the worst. So hopefully talking about this with you guys today will help me this week and for the rest of the year, and I can concentrate on the things that I need to do, and hopefully it'll end up with good stuff.
What's the most challenging course that you played?
Most challenging course, probably Oakmont. It was in this year's US Open. It was very soft, so it wasn't as challenging as it could have been. Oakmont on Tuesday in the practice round I was thinking plus 10 was going to win the tournament. They had several inches of rain, and it softened it right up, and only 5 under won. The greens were faster Tuesday. They were firmer. The fairways were bouncier, so your ball would bounce into the rough. If you missed a green in a certain spot at Oakmont in the practice rounds, you might have been this far off the green. You couldn't get it on the green. You'd just chip it on the green and it would roll off. So it's a good golf course in that it really rewards good ball strikers, because if you miss it in the right spot, with an uphill chip, you've got a chance. If you hit a bad shot and miss it in the wrong spot, you're probably going to make double or worse. So, that's probably, as far as tough golf courses go, it's the toughest, but it's also fun, because if you play really well, you can shoot even par. If you don't play really well, you can shoot 90. My dad's a scratch handicapper, a scratch golfer, and I don't think he would break 100 around there. Yeah, it's that tough. It's really, really difficult.
Last question.
Golf is such an individual sport, competing and practicing and traveling. Can you describe the general camaraderie that you all have over the downtime and golf courses? There are a lot of courses.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more camaraderie on the European tour, to be honest. I think guys travel by themselves a lot more. Over here, a lot of us are traveling with our families. Travel's a lot easier over here in the US. Flights are shorter. We're not. Everything's familiar. No matter what city you go to, you can eat at the same restaurants if you want to. Which is what I do when I'm by myself and my wife's with me. We don't. When I travel by myself, it's I hang out with a lot of the Australians, just because that's who I grew up with, not because I like them more or whatever. It's just that's who I grew up with, and it's good. People really, it's like a big family. People really supported us when Audrey was sick, and that's when I think when things are bad, that's when people really show what they can do and that they really want to help you. And what Mayor Dan's doing is unbelievable. Like, that's such a amazing thing that you're doing, and that's, wish you all the best with that. My wife's best friend actually had one of her best friends had a kidney transplant about 6 months ago, and she went from being on dialysis every day, and she's back travelling again, and it really changed her life. So you are going to, I know you know that, but you're going to change that girl's life. So thank you. Yeah.